What's happening, Exiles? Welcome to my 0.3 Mortar Cannon Tactician League Start build guide. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire leveling process for this character, and by the end, I'll also set you up with an early endgame version of the build so you can start blasting through maps efficiently. Timestamps will be in the description below. Mortar Cannon doesn't become available until skill gem level 11, which we get at character level 41. So to start, we take explosive grenades with our first level 1 uncut skill gem, and this will be our main damaging gem throughout the majority of the campaign. On screen, I will show each skill gem along with the maximum tier of support gems we will be taking for that gem. If you don't have access to the higher tier right away, for example, Elemental Armament tier 2, then take the tier 1 version until it becomes available. The support gems will be listed in order of priority from left to right, like a book. Now, PoE doesn't have the new support gems in its database yet, so please refer to this section of the video for the correct skill and support gem setups. In Explosive Grenade, we take Multi-Shot 1 for more projectiles, Magnified Area to cover wider parts of the screen, Elemental Armament for more weapon damage, and Short Fuse 1 to make those explosions go off faster. Now, you won't have all of these slots available just yet. As you progress through the campaign, you will be dropping things called Jeweler's Orbs. You use these to add slots to your skill gems so you can support it with more gems. Make sure you're picking them up and using them as you get them. At level 6, we get access to level 3 skill gems, and with this, we're going to be taking Flash Grenade. We mainly only use Flash Grenade to try to stun bosses. To support Flash Grenade, we take Stun 2 and Multi-Shot 1. Stun provides us with more stun buildup. At level 14, we get access to level 5 skill gems. And with our first level 5 skill gem, we're going to be taking Rapid Shot. Rapid Shot is a skill that was reworked slightly in 0.3. It builds up heat as you fire it, but now it goes on cooldown for 10 seconds if you reach maximum heat stacks. So, what we want to do is build up heat by shooting with Rapid Shot, and when we reach 15 stacks, we sling out explosive nades, which consumes those stacks to gain 50% of damage as extra fire damage. Since Explosive Grenade has a pretty decently long cooldown early on, getting in a rhythm of building heat and then consuming it gives us time for our cooldown charges to come back naturally between each set of nades, while still providing a solid amount of damage. In Rapid Shot, we support it with Rapid Attacks 3, which gives us increased attack damage and lowers our damage, but we don't use this skill as a damaging ability, so that is completely fine with us. And for the second support, we go with Mobility. Mobility reduces our movement speed penalty while using supported skills, and since we'll be slinging out shots with this constantly, having that extra movement speed just helps getting through zones a lot faster. With our next level 5 skill gem, we're going to take Gas Grenade, and we support it with Multi-Shot and Magnified Area. Now, it's worth noting that I also had Disengage on a spear weapon swap just for some extra mobility during combat for the majority of the campaign. This isn't necessary for the build, it was just personal preference. Now, the previous mentioned skills are what we will be using for the majority of the campaign, all the way up until level 41, which is when we get Mortar Cannon. Inside of Mortar Cannon, you're going to slot Oil Grenade. Oil Grenade covers the ground in oil, which lowers enemy resistance by up to 20% and also slows them by a decent amount. The oil also becomes ignited, causing burning ground when our nades explode on it. And that rounds out our skills for the majority of the campaign. Later on, we will swap to Mortar Cannon as our main damaging gem around level 70. Stay tuned for the setup for that later in the video. Now, let's talk about our spirit gems. Our first Ascendancy node that we'll be taking gives us 50% increased reservation efficiency for our spirit gems, so we'll be able to equip quite a few of them throughout the campaign, starting with War Banner. Banners also received a slight rework in 0.3. Instead of requiring Valor, banners now require 200 Glory to use, and Glory is gained simply by attacking monsters. The Glory gained is dependent on the power of the monsters. Normal monsters granting 1, magic monsters granting 2, rare monsters granting 5, and unique monsters granting 20. This is a huge buff to the banner system, so I really wanted to try it out, and it turned out pretty nicely for the whole campaign. When War Banner is used, we gain 25% more attack damage and 25% increased attack speed. To support that, we take Prolonged Duration 3 and Magnified Area. Now, we mainly only use the banner during boss fights or against those tanky Abyss monsters. With our second Spirit Gem, we take Herald of Ash to help a little bit with clearing packs. We support that with Magnified Area and Vitality 2 later on once you get enough Spirit. For the next Spirit Gem, we take Wind Dancer. Now, since we probably won't have that much evasion at this point, the buff for evasion doesn't really do much for us, but we take this to apply crowd control to enemies that hit us. We support it with Maim, which slows enemies, and Pin. Our second Ascendancy point we take during the campaign will be Whoever Pays Best, which allows us to ignore the limit of having only one banner out at a time. So, we grab Defiance Banner for some nice increases to our armor and evasion, and our movement speed. The movement speed buff helps a lot in trying to dodge those pesky boss moves. So, just like War Banner, we take Prolonged Duration and Magnified Area. Now, I ended up having enough Spirit to also slot in Attrition, which gives us just a little bit more damage and helps out in those prolonged boss fights. Now, let's talk about our gear. When it comes to the gear while leveling, having a strong crossbow is really important. Be sure to be on the lookout for upgrades constantly. In the early campaign, focus on finding armor or armor and evasion hybrid gear. As you work your way towards the end of Act 4, start working on swapping to full evasion with deflection and maximum life. Deflection is a new mechanic added into Path of Exile 2 0.3, which gives you a chance to deflect 40% of all incoming damage. Now, what mods are you going to be looking out for through the campaign? For your weapon, you're going to want to look for flat added attack damage, % increased physical damage, attack speed, and level of all projectile skills. Now, on your armor, making sure to get boots that have movement speed is going to be a huge plus in getting you through the campaign at a quick pace. You're going to want armor, armor and evasion or evasion, maximum life, fire, cold, lightning, and chaos resistance, flat added attack damage, which you can find on your gloves, attack speed, which you can also find on your gloves, and gain deflection equal to % of your evasion. This is available to all gear that has evasion on it. As for your jewelry, you're going to want to look for plus to level of all projectile skills, which you can find on your amulet, flat added attack damage, which you can find on rings, and all of your resistances and maximum life. Now let's move over to PoB to take a look at the passive skill tree. I'll have the PoB linked in the description below, but remember, the support gems are not in the database for PoB yet, so remember to check back and refer to the skill gem section of this video to see which gems you need. In this PoB, I have loadouts set up for each step of the leveling process. Starting out, we're going to start with projectile damage. Then we're going to move into some cooldown recovery for our explosive grenades, and then rush all the way down here for Grenadier. This gives our grenades an extra cooldown use. After Grenadier, we move on down to volatile grenades. Volatile grenades reduces our grenades' detonation time, causing them to explode faster. If you happen to find a useful jewel, remember to spec it in right here. After volatile grenades, we work our way down to this part of the tree. Now, once we take this attribute node right here, we split our points into 2 weapon sets. To use weapon set passive points, come to the top of the right of the screen and click this arrow button. Now you are allocating points for weapon set 1. On weapon set 1, we use our crossbow. We're taking grenades have 15% chance to activate a second time. And on weapon set 2, at this point in the game, I had disengage on a spear, so we're just taking it for increased attack speed, just for a little bit of quality of life. Now, if you look up here, you can see that weapon set 2 has 17 points remaining, and weapon set 1 has 18. This means we have 1 more point available to allocate on weapon set 1. Since there's not many nodes around here that I'd like to take, we're just going to come over here and grab Increased Grenade Area of Effect on weapon set 1. After those 4 weapon set nodes, we work our way over here and we take Spray and Pray. This and the previous nodes leading up to it give us reduced movement speed penalty while using skills. This is pretty massive for us as we are always spraying, rapid shot, and firing our grenades, So this gives us that extra boost of movement speed that we need to get through the maps faster. This node also gives us 50% increased attack damage while moving. This is a pretty solid increase. After spray and pray, we take 3 points into run and gun. While moving, we have a small chance to fire 2 additional projectiles. Now, if you find another useful jewel, be sure to come down here with 2 points and grab this jewel socket to slot it in. Next up, you're going to take 3 points into Forces of Nature for an extra penetration of attack damage. After those points, we're going to work our way over to Authority. This gives us increased area of effect and cooldown recovery rate for our grenades. After Authority, we come and grab Smoke Inhalation and Incendiary. This gives us some damage penetration along with increased damage against burning enemies. You can feel free to use another 2 nodes to come over here and grab this jewel socket if you have another useful jewel. With our next set of points, we're going to come up here and grab Light on Your Feet along with Momentum. Now, in case you weren't aware, wearing body armor and all the armor alike gives us a less movement speed penalty. So taking this, ignoring all movement speed penalties from armor, gives us a nice boost to our quickness to get through maps and zones. And Light on Your Feet gives us immune to Hinder and Maim, which are some pretty annoying slowing debuffs. After these nice quality of life movement speed nodes, we're going to work our way over to the Spring Hair. This gives us 20% chance for damage of enemies hitting us to be unlucky, and 20% chance for our own damage against enemies to be lucky. Now, if you aren't aware of what unlucky and lucky means, basically the damage is rolled twice, and for unlucky, it will take the lowest damage number and apply that as the hit, and for lucky, it will take the higher damage number and apply that as the hit. Now, at this point, you will be working your way through the end of Act 4. For our next 3 points, we're coming up and grabbing Banner Man. This gives us Linger for our banner buffs for an extra 2 seconds of duration on those buffs. Now, it is also around this stage where you should be trying to transfer into full evasion gear and finding armor pieces with deflection rating on them. We are going to come over here to grab 4 points into Glancing Deflection Cluster. This gives us gain deflection rating equal to a total of 18% with these 3 nodes here of our evasion rating, and then increases that deflection rating by 10%. Our next 4 nodes are going to be near Authority into these Ballista nodes. Now, you're going to hold off on this node here because we haven't made the swap to full Mortar Cannon yet. Before we do that, we have to take 2 points here to gain the extra banner, and we have to respec these 2 Ascendancy nodes into Cannons Ready. Once you have this Ascendancy set up, that is when you take Artillery Strike. At this point, we have +2 to maximum number of summoned totems, giving us a total of 3 totems. After you've made the Mortar Cannon swap, make sure to take these 3 nodes out and allocate them into 3 separate weapon set points. Weapon set 1 going into projectile damage and reduced projectile speed, and weapon set 2 going into the crossbow reload speed. It is also at this point where I took off disengage and I locked in my crossbow for both weapon sets. This can be done in your inventory by coming up here and right clicking on lock to all weapon sets. Now my crossbow counts for both weapon sets. When you make this swap, make sure you come over to the skill gem tab and set all of your bolt skills to weapon set 2 by unchecking the 1 here, and set all of your grenade skills to weapon set 1 by unchecking the number 2. And this is the setup you'll be running as you're getting into early maps. When we make the swap to using Mortar Cannon as our main damaging ability, all of our spirit gems are going to remain the same. However, we will make some skill gem swaps. To begin, we take Mortar Cannon as our main ability. Hopefully by this point, you want to have a greater Jeweler's Orb ready so you can socket it with 4 support gems. In Mortar Cannon, we have Explosive Grenades, Multi-Shot 2, Magnified Area, and Urgent Totems to make the totem placement speed faster. And we are removing Flash Grenade and Gas Grenade from our setup. We are keeping Oil Grenade and keeping it with Magnified Effect and Multi-Shot. And the last skill gem we are adding into it is Explosive Shot. Explosive Shot is a detonation skill, meaning when we hit our grenades with it, it will automatically explode the grenades. So for this reason, we do not need any reduced fuse duration. We are only using Explosive Shot as a utility skill, so we support it with quality of life skills, starting with Streamline Rounds. This gives us 50% more attack speed, and also it loads 5 additional bolts, giving it 6 total. It comes with the downside of doing less damage and having less reload speed. So, to counteract that reload speed, we take Rapid Attacks 3 and Nimble Reload for 60% increased reload speed. And with that should get you into early maps, blasting through efficiently. Thank you guys so much for watching my build guide. I will be updating this as I go along and play through the game. I will be taking this build deep into the end game, so be sure to subscribe and check back later for updated build guides. Be sure to check me out on Twitch, stop by, ask any questions you have. I will be streaming a lot this league. You can find the link in the description below. With all that being said, thank you all for watching, and have a blessed night. Peace.